Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for yet another daily talk of stock. And as you can see, I have the red shirt with the green tie on, and that is because the markets were confused today. There were some red, some plays in the green, but for the most part, about everything, including the major indexes, did finish sideways. So when we just look at the SPY and the triple Qs, we could see it was a pretty sideways day. Both major indexes lost about a point. So just underneath that, 0.9% in both the major indexes. But overall, this isn't too bad because the markets do continue just to push forward. And this was expected, as today we did have nothing on the economic calendar. So nothing really to either push us down or push us forward as being a major catalyst. But just like I said in yesterday's video, the day that we really need to watch for this week is going to be coming on Wednesday, because we do have the minute of Fed's May FOMC meeting. So in this, they're not going to be cutting a rate by any means, but they could be giving us some signals for what we could be expecting to see for the future. So giving the market some direction, because where we are currently sitting at now, we are at a very unpredictable spot. The markets really are trending sideways because we do have a lot of bulls who did buy the dips on the market, while we did have a lot of bears sitting out thinking things were going to get worse. But overall, the markets right now are sitting at levels of extreme greed. And in my opinion, I am very bullish on the markets, because when we just do look at the major indexes and the year that we have had, we did have the bleed through the beginning part of the year, and things have really changed. So the trend has changed for the better. We are seeing a more bullish trend. And this is why some bears are so loud, because during this time, just like Tom Lee has said, this is the most hated V recovery because of all the bears that have missed out from the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so if you're new to the markets, just know that this does happen every so often. There are times when the bears do have their moments. During these times, the bears will be louder than the bulls, and it could cause some panic. But during these times, while the markets have been dropping, this is where great investors took the opportunity to buy the dips and strengthen their positions. And so nothing on the economic calendar today, but we did have some news around the tariffs. So just as this article reads right here, the Dow did fall, and that is because Trump dialed up some tariff tensions and extended deadlines. So as this reads right here, stocks fell Monday after President Trump renewed trade tension with a range of countries while extending a deadline on so-called reciprocal tariffs to August 1st. Major indexes opened lower, with declines accelerating after the United States announced 25% tariffs on goods from Japan and South Korea. Several more nations received similar notifications, which were posted on Trump's Truth Social platform Monday afternoon. And so, again, more talks about the trades and the tariffs. So this is going to be important to look at, the deadlines being extended till August, but there is still some news coming on Wednesday. And I like at the bottom of this article, it does also write about Elon Musk and how Trump just recently ridiculed Elon Musk's new political party. So if you're unaware about what has been happening with Elon Musk, we're going to get to this at the end of the video, but Elon has been very upset about what has been happening at the White House and the recent passing of the Big Beautiful Bill. And the reason why he is not happy about it is because of the pork within the bill, the pork being the unnecessary government spending. But with this government spending, it is going to greatly affect two of the plays that we talk about on this channel that are in the sector of defense. So those stocks are BigBearAi, Palantir, and we're also going to visit Elon Musk's stock at the end because it is a hot stock. But we're first going to be talking about these two defense stocks, Palantir and BigBearAi. And the reason why we're talking about them is because both of these stocks greatly benefit from what the government does, and the pork, which is in the big, beautiful bill. Before anything else, as always, though, this is not financial advice, so always do your own due diligence. But both Big Bear and Palantir, both companies that work alongside the government in defense. And with this big, beautiful bill, there is over $850 billion allocated for the Department of Defense. And this was just a question I asked to ChatGPT. And with that, ChatGPT even wrote itself stocks that may benefit. They put Big Bear and Palantir both on that list. And so we do know that President Trump is very defense heavy. He is willing to spend a lot on defense. And with Palantir, they are already in the White House. And with BigBearAi, their CEO, Kevin, does have a lot of ties back to Trump, as he was working in the government during the time of Trump's presidency in 2020. And so both of these companies right here have a lot of potential to gather a big government contract. And so we're going to be comparing both of them side by side here. And so just looking at the technical analysis first, with both Big Bear and Palantir, both stocks have seen massive rips since the bottom in April. Both stocks up over 100% in the last 3 months, Big Bear having its recent rise. And so there's a lot of hype and speculation around the Big Bear, because we have really seen this moonshot up in just the last couple of weeks. And it's very exciting as well, as we are getting very close to the 52-week high around $10.50, which was set in February. So with BigBearAi, a lot of eyes on the Big Bear. And what is really important, again, is with this big, beautiful bill, it does talk about how they are going to allocate more for defense spending. And so Big Bear sitting in a perfect position. And Big Bear is a lot smaller of a company than Palantir, but they are working all alongside the government and with the airports. So some joke about Big Bear being like Big Brother, because it is all around us. Big Bear has been significantly growing. If you have been at any of the airports in the last year here in the United States of America, you will see Big Bear everywhere. And so Big Bear growing in general. They also do have a lot of big government contracts. And so if Big Bear does get another big government contract, this could really moon the stock and send it to new levels. So possibly a big catalyst coming sometime here in the near future. And then same with Palantir, because Palantir has been ripping these last couple years, and it is because of the big government contracts that they have also gotten. And we know that Alex Karp is right alongside Trump at the White House. We look at these stocks side by side on just technical analysis. We can see that the Big Bear is sitting at its highest level on the relative strength index, and it is looking a bit overvalued on the MACD as well. So a possible pullback coming for the Big Bear here in the near future. But what I encourage investors to remember is overall in the markets, we are seeing a rip up, and the trend has really changed more bullish. So the uptrend in the major indexes and the overall markets are very strong. And in the last months, the opposite was happening going all the way to April. So I know a lot of investors are hurt because we did have the falling knife, but now we are moving back up, and overall the markets are a lot bullish. So the markets can stay a bit irrational for some time when it comes to the technical analysis, just because the major indexes and stocks could be sitting high on the relative strength index or the MACD doesn't mean that they are going to drop anytime soon. Even though it is sitting high on the relative strength index, the MACD, and we have had a big rip up recently, I am still very bullish, and that is because of everything I see coming for the future with the Big Bear, especially with the increase in the spending when it comes to defense. And then same with Palantir. I am very excited about the future for Palantir. This company has been growing, and we are getting closer to having $1 billion quarterly for Palantir. And with the recent cool off that we have had, this actually puts us at a good spot on the relative strength index and a decent spot on the MACD as well. So I'm expecting more positive price movements in Palantir here in the near future. And I think the recent dips that we have gotten in Palantir is a blessing, and we should be pushing back to 150 anytime soon. And when we put these stocks side by side, funny enough, at this current point in time, when you look at the last year, both stocks are sitting at about the same spot. So for the last year, both have currently performed about equal, but when we zoom out, of course, over the last 5 years, we could see that Palantir has ripped a lot higher than the Big Bear. But this is what makes Big Bear so appetizing to investors, is there's a lot of potential in the Big Bear. And over the course of the last couple years, Big Bear's financials have been getting better, and they have paid down a significant amount of debt as well. So currently the company of Big Bear is a lot smaller than Palantir, really a small market cap stock, while Palantir is a massive company sitting with a market cap over 300 billion. So Big Bear still has a long way to catch up. Currently the market cap in the Big Bear sits at just 2.26 billion, which is doubled from where we were just recently at. So not long ago, just a couple weeks ago, before the big rip we had, we were sitting at just a billion market cap. So the market cap has doubled. And as we have talked about, also there is a massive short interest on this stock at 27%. So as the volume continues to push up, and if the bulls stay strong within the Big Bear, we could really see the price continue to rip up as the shorts are being squeezed within the Big Bear. So a lot of hype and momentum in the Big Bear. Again, if we get any big catalyst from the government giving them some type of contract, that could really help to push Big Bear up, and that would cause a lot of pressure on the shorts. I definitely see Big Bear getting back to a double-digit range here in the near future. I don't want to give an exact time date, but I do believe that Big Bear will get to 11 at least before the end of the year, and it could come a lot sooner, again, if any big government contract comes. And then also the next big catalyst we have on the dates coming up for the Big Bear will be at the end of the month on July 31st. They're going to have their Q2 earnings, and Wall Street is expecting for it to be better than their Q1 earnings. And so that is pretty big right there. We do know in their last earnings report, they did mention how they did have some big government contracts they have obtained, but the earnings hadn't yet shown up on the balance sheet. So we may be expecting this here in the second quarter, and this doesn't always mean a lot, but the analysts are giving this a 100% buy rating. And so take what you want with that. But right now, Big Bear sitting at a small market cap and just a price of $7.78. I believe that anything below the double-digit range for the Big Bear is a blessing. And this time frame right at the end of this month going into next month is going to be huge for the defense stocks, because Big Bear is announcing their earnings in 24 days at the end of July, while Palantir is going to be announcing their earnings just 4 days after that at the beginning of August. So some big dates coming up for these stocks, and I believe this is going to be a huge week for defense in general. And Big Bear and Palantir being so closely related, we could see a spark just from all the fear of missing out and from all the buying within these stocks. So if Big Bear does come out with a big earnings, we could see a pop in Palantir. And then when Palantir comes out with a big earnings, we could see a pop in Big Bear, just because many times the whole sector will run up together. We talked about this recently with quantum. My favorite quantum stock is QBTS, but when that runs, typically the whole quantum sector runs, similar to the whole markets, cryptocurrency, etc. So this will be a big week for defense. Their earnings coming in 28 days, and this is going to be a big earnings because Wall Street is expecting 939 million. Palantir is historically beating every single one of their earnings, and I expect the exact same from Palantir. So I think going in to the end of this month and next month is going to be massive for these defense stocks. So looking in the short term, anything could happen. I believe that the markets are going to stay bullish this week, but Wednesday is really going to give us a sense of where we could be going forward. But with that, in the short term, even if there is some retractions, these are just buying opportunities for these stocks. With these stocks, I'm really looking at the long term, and I think there's a lot of potential in both of them. Palantir is getting closer to being a $1 trillion company, while Big Bear is still at the early stages and could really run anywhere. So very bullish on both of these stocks. And with that being said, we're going to visit the other stock that isn't seeing as much benefits from the big, beautiful bill. This has been talked a lot about in the media between Trump and Elon. Elon. We know that Elon has not been the happiest with Trump. This came right after the congratulations that Trump gave him at the White House, gave him the key to the White House, everything like that. Shortly after that, there was a lot of criticism from Elon on X, and he went pretty far, getting deeper than just things when it comes to the big, beautiful bill. But that has been what he has been most upset about. He spent his time earlier in the year working with Doge, and then the big, beautiful bill does introduce the pork, as we call it, the federal spending. And so Elon hasn't been happy about that, has been very vocal, and with that, the stock has been dropping. As many of you know, I am a fan of Trump and the DJT stock, so it's funny because Elon is basically anti-Trump at this point, throwing a lot on X, which we're going to get to in a second. But, you know, with being a stock investor, I always say to never fall in love with a particular stock or a particular play. I'm always just looking for opportunities. And so with the bleeding that has came from Tesla, we have really seen a bleed since the early parts of the year, first with Elon supporting Trump, and then all the madness and chaos we saw around the Tesla dealerships, and then with the drama between the two. I believe that Tesla is heating up for a big pop sometime in the near future. I am loading up onto Tesla for next year because we do have some big events around Tesla with the Cybercab being announced next year. That is going to be a self-driving car. There is going to be no wheel, like no steering wheel for you to drive or pedals. So it's going to take you everywhere. That's going to be crazy to see. They did have their big event recently in Texas as well. So Tesla doing similar to what Waymo is doing, where the self-driving cars are taking you instead of like an Uber to say. But with all of that happening, Tesla has been dropping. And so just on the technical analysis, we are getting at a more favorable spot on both the relative strength index and the MACD. So when we just look at the history of Tesla over the last 5 years, it has been really crazy. And when we look at the last 10 years, things have been really crazy as well. And during this entire run-up, I remember these times. So I graduated high school around 2016, and me and my friend used to always talk about Tesla stock around this time. And to see what it has done over the years has been absolutely wild. I participated a lot in Tesla during the run-up in 2020, but I never really held the shares. I just kept bouncing in and out of it. And with that being said, Tesla is one of those stocks that could really run like crazy because of all they are doing with innovation and the big, beautiful bill. It does cut the EV mandate that was to come in 2030, but overall still a ton of potential in Tesla. And Elon is getting very political, which could get some people excited about Tesla. And that is why I am covering it today, just because it is one of those stocks, again, that has a lot of hype and momentum behind it. And now that Elon has become such a figure, this stock is always going to be in the limelight. So with it being below 300, I do think this is an opportunity. And if Tesla is too high for you at these levels around 300, there is TSLL, which is the double leveraged Tesla play. So this is a derivative that came out earlier this year, and this is what I am playing with because the momentum in Tesla, I believe, will rip up. And with TSLL, it is double leveraged and it is cheaper, just $10 a share if you are looking for that play that is cheaper and to still be involved in Tesla. Personally, I like this opportunity here also because it is double leveraged, and so the gains are even greater in TSLL than Tesla. But be warned, because the losses are double as well. So if you've been in TSLL during these last couple weeks, the bleeding has been worse than if you were just in Tesla, because again, it goes at double the speed. Things have heated up with Elon going after Trump again. Recently, he did a poll on X/Twitter about creating a new political party called the American Party, and he did get an overall support of more yeses than nos, and he is pushing that right now. He is also going after Trump again, throwing some slander. So we have right here the people saying Elon should just work on making the Republican Party better are the same ones who have been calling to primary the few Republicans who want a smaller government. He also has this, the clown meme about the Epstein list, and just more going after President Trump and overall politics. Let's remember, Elon Musk did spend a lot of the early part of the year doing the Department of Government Efficiency. So seeing this extra pork in the big, beautiful bill doesn't make him happy. Trump is saying he has bigger incentives than that, and he is not happy about the EV mandate. I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks, why you think Elon Musk is going off on Trump, if you think it's about the big beautiful bill and the Department of Government Efficiency, or if you think that Trump is right about Elon being upset about the cut on that EV mandate that was supposed to come around 2030. And please let me know what you also think about BigBearAi and Palantir. Overall, I am very excited for the markets, and I believe that the markets will continue to rip up for BigBearAI and Palantir. Both of these stocks, even if they flatline for a little bit, or even if they do dip, I am looking at the events we have coming at the end of this month and the beginning of next month for both of these stocks. So I am very bullish on both BigBearAI and Palantir, and I think both have a lot of potential to run. So for both, I am a long-term investor, and I am very excited for the future in both of those stocks. And with Tesla and what I am looking at, TSLA, the double leveraged Tesla stock, I am very excited because I do believe there will be a momentum push coming soon. And just looking at the technical analysis right now is the time when I want to buy before that momentum spark does come. And as always, I appreciate all of you for being here for yet another daily talk of stock. Please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I will see you guys all in the next video.